You are now listening to
the Primal Armor Podcast.
This episode is sponsored by Executive Fit LLC. They build custom deadlift platforms, custom barbell storage pieces, and make indoor and outdoor signage for your home or corporate gym. Every platform that pairs with a rack is customized to that specific rack, so everything fits nice and clean. And they ship nationwide. Each platform has a logo applied in a way that makes it impossible to peel up from wear and tear. They even make custom nameplates for your squat rack. Visit executivefitllc.com to request a quote and see what's available on their store. That's executivefitllc.com to upgrade your deadlift game today. Welcome back to episode 99 of the Primal Armor Podcast. Last week, we went over the topic of how often you should be changing your training program. And now that you know that you need to be changing up your workout programs to avoid homeostasis and those dreaded plateaus, I want to talk about how we actually do that. This week's topic is going to be talking about how we change or increase our workout intensity. Because we all know that working out's hard. And the longer you do it, the more we're going to have to change and increase intensity to see those changes in our body. When you look at a typical program, it's going to be broken into sets, reps, and at certain percentages of weights or an RPE that you should be working at. Playing with these numbers is going to be the easiest way to change your intensity of the workout. If you're doing sets of 5 on your exercise, adding in more sets will increase the overall workload that you're going to be doing for that workout. This is a really good way to work at weights you're feeling more comfortable with, but get more working sets in. Or if you have to drop the weight and do the same amount of sets, but now you're increasing the amount of reps that you're doing for each set. This will help you work in a hypertrophy, but in turn, it can help you change up your program because now that you're going to be doing more reps overall, you're increasing your workload. Or you can remain at the same amount of sets and reps that you were doing before and just increase the percentage or the RPE that you're working at. Most workout programs you'll see out there in the market will be working towards certain percentages of your 1 rep max. And if you increase that percentage and you're throwing on an extra 5 or 10 pounds during your sets, that'll make it harder. And it'll increase the intensity and it'll in turn help you grow your muscles and your strength. Or you can go by feel, like how I've talked about in our recent episode. This is the RPE method. It's like how you rate things on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're working at a 7 pretty consistently, but now it's starting to work its way towards more of like a 5 or a 6, that's when you know you need to be able to make a change and go up in weight to something that feels like a 7 or an 8 again. I prefer this method because some days the weight just feels harder than normal. So instead of having to hit a certain percentage or not being able to hit it because you're just feeling beat down or you're even sick, now you're getting in a similar workload for your body comparatively because you're always working at that same RPE. And this helps you finish workouts where you might not actually hit the numbers if you're focused on those percentages. But the biggest thing to remember is when you're increasing the intensity of a workout, you can only do one of these at a time to actually be able to sustain it in the long term. If you're increasing weight and the amount of sets you're doing or however many reps you're doing, that's when you're going to start being able to overtrain like we talked about a few episodes ago, and no one wants that. Everyone wants the biggest numbers possible and to grow the biggest muscles possible, but it takes time, and we have to be smart about it. It goes slow, but you'll be able to continually make increases without setbacks if you focus on one of these at a time instead of trying to do multiple at a time. And when your body starts feeling beat up constantly, or when those RPEs start creeping up to an 8 or a 9 or even 10s at that weight that you're just normally doing, that's when you know it's time to take a deload week or even a day or 2 break to let your body recover. And then you can hit it hard again and increase those numbers once the body's ready for it. And that's another great thing about going by feel is you can do everything when the body's ready for it. But one other way I really like to change up my workout intensity and also like to make things more interesting is by making actual workout movements that I'm doing in my workout program even harder. As soon as you change a movement to an isolated muscle exercise, it makes it so much harder. Think about a regular deadlift, and now change it into a single leg dumbbell or a kettlebell deadlift. It's going to take a lot more balance and core strength to do it, and it changes the intensity of the workout because you're going to be using so many more muscles. The same can be said with regular squats and single leg squats, or arm exercises by doing them one at a time. As soon as you isolate a muscle, it has to work harder, and that can change the workout intensity really quick. Like we talked about last week, it's really easy for the body to start working its way back towards homeostasis. So make sure you're always focusing on changing your workout intensity to be the best and strongest overall person you can be. But also, make sure you're doing it properly and efficiently so you're not injuring yourself and having setbacks from overtraining. I just want to thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you back here again next week.